I'm going to make this video short, sweet, and simple because honestly, I don't think this movie deserves the time of day to be talked about. But I watched Ice Cube's War of the Worlds recently, and it sucks. It is honestly somehow one of the worst films I have ever seen in my entire life. And I have seen literally thousands of movies before. And quite frankly, I mean, honestly, I'm not going to lie. As you can see in the reflection of my glasses, I have the IMDb pulled up here because, as soon as I got done watching it, there's not a single thing that I remembered watching this. But let's just get into it. War of the Worlds is directed by Rich Lee, who, I don't really care what he did before, but it stars Ice Cube in quite possibly his worst performance, as well as stars Eva Longoria in her also quite possibly worst performance. And it follows a man working at, I think, NSA, who stalks his kids by using the power of the government, and then aliens invade, and he basically does NSA stuff to save his kids. It's quite terrible. There's a whole scene where he hacks into a Tesla to get his daughter home or something. And then there's another scene with some of the most blatantly terrible product placement I've ever seen in my entire life, where, what's it called? There's this Amazon driver who has to teleport stuff, but they use an Amazon drone to teleport the Amazon stuff using the Amazon drone because Amazon distributed this movie. It's bad. There's not a single redeeming quality about this movie. There's not. There really is not. What's weird is that this feels like a COVID movie. It feels like a COVID movie. Like during COVID when, for some reason, the best example I can give is Shang-Chi. There are scenes in Shang-Chi where it's like this, the scene in the basement where Shang-Chi and Awkwafina are in the basement and they talk to Ben Kingsley's character, but it's like dual, single, because it's clear they had to keep everyone separate and they can keep people in the same scene together. It feels a lot like that. It feels so much like that. And I heard rumors that this was actually shot like almost 4 years ago, and they've just been holding off on actually releasing it. And I believe that. I really, really believe that. Despite this movie being, I think, an hour and 30 minutes, it still felt 3 hours too long. The visual effects were bad. They showed Gaza as France for some reason. I don't know if that was social commentary or anything, or if they literally just thought, well, hey, Gaza looks destroyed. Better use that to show that France was destroyed, even though their topography is nowhere near the same. And the visual effects are just bad. The only thing that is redeemable in this movie is nothing. There is nothing redeemable about War of the Worlds. It's bad. It's really, really bad. Ice Cube just does this the whole time. Huh? What? Oh my God. No. What? And his character's not likable either. He stalks his family, but he has a dead wife. So, dead wife means it's perfectly okay. He's just a tragic character who cares for his family, even though he literally hacked into his daughter's smart fridge, which, by the way, this actually makes a very good case for you not to have smart anything. Because if your father or some vindictive member within the government wants to, they can hack into your shit and fuck you up just because they feel like it. Like, he scolds his daughter by hacking into her smart fridge, looking inside the fridge, which, by the way, makes no sense. But if that's something that happens, then, what? But he's like, how dare you? You ain't getting shit. You ain't buying any healthy foods. Oh, yeah, by the way, there's this twist. Fuck spoilers. I don't care. There's a twist where it turns out his son, by the way, this is the worst kind of twist imaginable, but there's this hacker person whose name I have already forgotten, who's like trying to mess because the government overreach, social commentary that's like barely touched upon, is like, oh, government. And then, uses a voice modulator, blah, 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 blah. But Ice Cube's character never decides to, what's his name? William Radford. Yeah, that's right. William Radford. So William Radford never bothers to just record the voice and then put it through a voice unmodulator and realize that, that's just... Even then, if this is your son, you should recognize the cadence and verbal rhetoric that comes out. Because usually when you're part of a family, you're able to recognize how a person speaks. Whether that is the tone of voice, the cadence, as well as the verbiage that they use. The fact that this was like some second or third act twist is absolutely ridiculous. And even then, Ice Cube's perform. And what's worse is that Clark Gregg's in this thing too. He's just the Secretary of Defense. He's there. But also, it's the passage of time makes no sense. This is meant to take place over the course of 6 hours, which, by the way, it's like 6 hours for a war? Really? That's not a war at that point. It's a skirmish. It's a world skirmish that lasted 6 hours. It doesn't capture any of the themes of the original book. It doesn't even capture anything from the Tom Cruise movie from 2005. This movie sucks. It sucks. There's nothing redeemable about it. I even watched it twice, one sober and one under the influence of alcohol. And guess what? The second time was actually worse than the first. So this is not even something you can even jokingly watch, like under the influence of controlled substances. There is nothing redeemable about this movie. And as much as I want to be, because, I want to be a filmmaker at some point. And as much as, it's good to try and, not talk poorly about the work of other people, about your peers, this is different. This is objectively bad and should be scrutinized to the highest ability. I hope everyone involved, can learn and grow from this experience and actually deliver something better down the line. I hope Rich Lee, who is the director of this movie, is able to grow and actually make something that he probably wants to make down the line. But otherwise, those are my thoughts on 2025 Ice Cube's Zoom-written War of the Worlds, because why not? Why not make a movie like this rather than an accurate, adapted version of H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds, which is a deeply complex, social commentary on English colonialism of, I think, Zimbabwe in the late 1800s. Because, that doesn't sound interesting. You know what is interesting? An Amazon Zoom War of the Worlds movie.